When you think about trading, most people imagine it's a battlefield. And they spend all their time sharpening their swords, their entry signals, their strategies. But they totally forget about the most important thing, their shield. Well, today, we're building that shield. Think of this as your survival guide for managing your money, the system that keeps you in the game. The legendary trader Larry Hite just nailed it with this quote. And it's not just some clever saying. This is the absolute core philosophy of professional trading. See, the number one goal isn't to hit a grand slam on your first trade. It's to make sure you get to stay at the table long enough to even get a chance at a great trade. Because if you lose all your chips, you're out. Game over. It's really that simple.
It's kind of strange when you really stop and think about it, right? We all get that you can't trade without money. And yet almost all the focus, you see it in books, courses, everywhere. It's all about sharpening that sword, finding that perfect entry for a massive win. The defensive side of things, the shield that just protects what you already have, it almost feels like an afterthought for most people.
So let's get to it. Let's start building that shield. Our survival system is going to have 4 main parts. First, we'll dig into the one secret that everyone overlooks. Then, we'll tackle the real battlefield, what goes on inside your head. After that, we'll get into the nuts and bolts, the technical plan for defense. And finally, we'll see why keeping score is actually how you win this thing in the long run. Okay, let's kick things off with the biggest, and let's be honest, the most boring secret in all of trading. The number one reason traders blow up their accounts isn't because of a bad strategy. It's because they completely ignore having a solid money management system.
So why? Why does everybody ignore it? Well, because money management just isn't sexy. It doesn't promise you some secret indicator or overnight riches. It's basically the trading version of being told to eat your vegetables and floss your teeth. Yeah, it's not exciting, but it's absolutely crucial if you want to be healthy and stay in this for the long haul.
The psychology here is really simple. It's way more fun to daydream about a trade going to the moon than it is to plan for it to crash and burn. Thinking about losing just feels negative. A great way to think about it is like car insurance, right? You don't buy car insurance expecting to get in a wreck today. You have it so that one really bad day doesn't completely ruin your life. The problem is, most traders only try to buy that insurance after they've already had a devastating crash. But look, a system of rules is pretty much useless if your own mind isn't ready to actually follow them. And that brings us to our second pillar, mastering your inner market. Because, having a strong shield is one thing, but you need the mental discipline to hold it up when things get crazy. This is the psychological battlefield where the real war for your account is won or lost. And don't fool yourself, this is a lifelong process. Even the absolute best traders in the world will tell you they are constantly battling with fear, greed, and regret. The goal isn't to magically get rid of these inner demons, but to build a system that keeps them in a cage so they can't be the ones making your decisions. And these are the exact mental traps that a good money management system is built to protect you from. When you're trading with scared money, every decision you make is driven by fear. Or when you have a few wins in a row and you feel totally invincible, that's recency bias, and it's whispering in your ear to bet huge right before a big loss. Your system, your shield, it acts like a guardrail. It forces you to be disciplined and keeps your ego from writing checks your account can't cash. All right, we've covered the mindset. Now let's actually forge the shield itself. How do we take this defensive thinking and turn it into real, concrete actions? This third part is the technical blueprint for protecting your chips. We're talking hard and fast rules. The cornerstone of all risk management is the stop loss. But here is the critical part. It is not a suggestion. It's not something you figure out after you're in the trade and your emotions are running wild. It is a non-negotiable exit point that you define before you risk even a single dollar. And this right here, this highlights a huge difference between pros and amateurs. An amateur trader might say something like, okay, I'm willing to lose $200 on this trade. A pro asks a totally different question. At what price does the market prove my entire idea for this trade is wrong? They place their stop based on technical levels, like, say, just below a key support area. That stop invalidates the whole reason they got in. Only then do they figure out how many shares to buy to match that risk. And here it is, the single most important number in your entire trading survival guide, 2%. As a rule, you should never, ever risk more than 2% of your total trading account on any single trade. Why? Because risking more than that dramatically increases your risk of ruin, which is the mathematical probability of blowing up your whole account. 2% keeps that risk incredibly low, and it makes sure that one bad trade can't knock you out of the game.
I want you to really think about this for a second. You can't control market risk, right? Some surprise news event could make the market gap down against you, but you have absolute 100% control over your trade risk, and you control that by adjusting your position size. This is your power. This is how you manage the game, not let the game manage you. So, how does this actually work in the real world? It's a really simple 3-step formula. First, you calculate your max pain point in dollars. That's just your account size times 2%. Second, you figure out the risk per share based on that market-based stop we talked about. And third, you just divide your max dollar risk by the risk per share. That number tells you exactly how many shares you can buy and still stay within your safety limit. No more guesswork.
So, we've covered the mindset and the mechanics. The shield is officially forged. The final piece of the puzzle is what ties it all together and forces you to get better: accountability. You have to keep score because what gets measured gets managed. Now, keeping a detailed trade journal is not a chore. It is the foundation of your trading business. It's what turns you from a gambler into a professional. It's impossible to lie to yourself when the cold, hard numbers are staring you in the face. And this data is also essential for knowing your real win rate and your payoff ratio, which then feeds right back into making all your risk calculations even better. And your records? They should go way beyond just the numbers. You need to track your emotions. Why did you take that trade? Were you feeling confident, anxious, maybe impatient? This is where you find the real gold. You'll start to see patterns, not just in the market, but in yourself. You might discover that, hey, maybe you lose more money when you trade just because you're bored. And here's a fascinating little tip. Don't just type it into a spreadsheet. Try actually handwriting your records. The physical act of writing creates a much stronger connection in your brain to your actions. It forces you to slow down and really face your results, both the good and the bad. And when you put it all together, you can see this isn't just a collection of random tips. It's a complete interlocking system. Your mindset prepares you to follow the rules protect your money, and your records give you the data to analyze and improve everything. Each part reinforces the others, creating a shield that actually gets stronger and stronger with every single trade. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Take a hard look at your own trading. Is all your energy going toward endlessly sharpening your sword, just hoping for that one glorious strike? Or is it going toward building a shield so strong that you can survive any battle and be ready for all the opportunities that come from simply staying in the fight? Because that's how you survive, and ultimately, that's how you win.